So let's talk about a simply huge quarterfinal at Euro 2020 between the world's number one side, Belgium, and Italy, who have been one of the most impressive teams in the competition so far. I cannot wait for this one. I personally feel the winner of Euro 2020 is the winner of this game. What do you think, James?
I wouldn't go that far. I really wouldn't, because I fear for Belgium and with the injuries that they've got. Roberto Martinez has said that Hazard and De Bruyne aren't totally out of the entire competition, but will certainly not play in this game against Italy. And I think, look, before this game and with a full clean bill of health, then I think Belgium do look very, very strong, because it's interesting. There's themes that kind of come up in different tournaments, but with this one, I think it is really interesting to see that there are a couple of teams that are really, really fluid going forward. I think Germany at times, certainly in that Portugal game, were. Italy have been, they're the top scorers in the competition. They've been fantastic. Netherlands were scoring a lot of goals. Spain have been scoring a lot of goals as well. But it's interesting that I think a lot of people are sort of leaning towards this idea that it's the team with the strong defenses that will end up going all the way, a bit like France did in the World Cup. So in this game, I'm intrigued because I feel like Belgium are kind of playing that defensive style. It almost feels like Belgium and Italy have kind of swapped identities a little bit. Italy playing really free-flowing stuff, and Belgium a lot less so. Portugal had so many shots. I know, of course, Belgium have got the lead, but even the goal that they scored was a glorious goal from Hazard, but it was also, the XG on it, I think, was 0.03. It was a very random kind of goal to have been scored. So they've been very strangely pragmatic, and I think it is because of that aging back line. And so if you've got that aging back line and you haven't got the kind of the fearsome duo of De Bruyne and Eden Hazard, I start to feel like Lukaku might get a little bit isolated, and they might just not have that same kind of firepower. I think they're there to be beaten, Belgium, in this game.
But didn't they keep a clean sheet against Cristiano Ronaldo, against Diogo Jota? They kept out João Felix. They kept out Bruno Fernandes. You can have those question marks. We've spoken about it before, but haven't they answered that question to a certain degree already? And the fact that they ground out a result, Italy did as well in their last game at Euro 2020. Those are the signs, the makings of champions in this competition. Right to the death when you're not playing well against a pretty good nation in the shape of Portugal. I know people will say their manager got it wrong at times and some of their players didn't really perform, but you got to give credit to the opposition. Belgium held them at arm's length at times. And that was for me, that was one of their best performances in recent years because of the way that they were able to just hang on to that result in the end. All those question marks about the defense, for me, were answered. Yes, two big names could be missing from the Belgian starting lineup in this game. They've already played without Kevin De Bruyne in their opening match. They've played without Eden Hazard in that game from the start. He came off the bench. They've already experienced what it's like not to have those two players. So it's not like I know they're losing a key component, but they've already had a trial run without them in the side. So I think that will help if neither of them do start this game. But by the way, the squad players have been stepping up with Belgium. It isn't just the stars who perform.
It's a massive loss, isn't it? It's a massive loss to lose those two players.
It is a massive loss. And look, it would be really difficult for them to come past Italy. I'm a huge fan of Italy. I thought they were going to win the competition from the start. I think, again, although the players have been pragmatic at the back, their patterns of play going forward are superb, Italy. They are very well drilled. They get bodies in the box. How many midfielders have scored for this Italy side so far? But I also think there's power up front, Insigne with his speed, Belotti's power as well. If Chiesa starts this game, and I think he should, I think he provided something different for sure, then I think that's a very difficult prospect for that back line of Belgium. But you didn't really answer my question. I said the winner of this game, I think, will win the competition. And you said, well, I'm worried about Belgium.
The winner of this competition.
What about Italy?
Well, I think the winner of this competition is on the other side of the draw. So I don't think it really matters personally. But yeah, no, I think Italy. I'd be very surprised if Italy don't make it to the final. Yes, they don't have that same maybe kind of world-class star power that a lot of the other nations have. But as a team, as you say, you called it right from the off. The chemistry that they've got, and from that first performance, they have been the team to watch in terms of their fluidity moving forward. I love they played very different to any other team. The only thing, watching that game against Austria were really good in that game, actually. They kind of controlled the ball quite well. And the midfield three for Austria in particular I think were very calm under pressure, were able to keep the ball, and then defensively, the two centre-backs had a great game. They did play a back four, though, so it will be different because Belgium will inevitably play a back three. In terms of that back three, though, I just think that there's so much energy in this Italy team that I think Belgium will really struggle. And I also think Italy, they would have probably gone for it anyway, because I think that's this new identity that Mancini has put into this side, and they're excited to do that. And that's how they know how to play. Spinazzola on that left-hand side, just so much energy. But I just think that they're going to have too much for this Belgian side without De Bruyne and Hazard. And I think they go full pelt. And although Belgium have been good defensively, Italy have been even better. They haven't conceded a goal in 90 minutes in this tournament. So I think it's Italy's. I really do. And I think I would have said something probably quite different if those two players were playing. But I think, and in particular, I mean De Bruyne in this, because I think that is a huge, huge loss. And you see the difference, going into the game, the last game, I think 40% of the chances that they'd made had come through him, and he hadn't played the first game. So I just think it's such a opportunity for Italy. And I think the energy and the speed of which they play, I think will be too much for this aging Belgian defense, who, if you look at their average positions, defend incredibly deep. And that's going to continue on in this game. They have to play a bit like Austria, which is a bit like the way that Belgium normally play and hold on to the ball. But in the last game, they didn't do that. So I do have some concerns about Belgium defensively, because Portugal, yes, they threw everything at them and didn't score. But I think if the same thing happens against Italy, I don't think they've got the firepower as much as they had before when they don't have those two players. I just can't get past that in my mind.
The Italy fans will be delighted, because that last game against Austria was the Italy of old. It was a little bit too easy, wasn't it, that group stage? What the Italian fans want to see is that fire in the belly, that ability to just drive themselves over the line. They've awoken that spirit in that last game. I think that will help them massively, because I'm predicting a very tight game here. Two very good sides, could be great, but I think it's going to be a 1-1 game, and I think it might go all the way to penalties as well, all the way through extra time. From there, just about anyone could win it, couldn't they? But I think this could be one of the ties of the tournament so far, maybe not in the goals column, but certainly in terms of the tactical play, the energy expended. And Romelu Lukaku has been so far a bit of an irresistible force himself. I wonder, what he will have to say about this game. Of course, playing in Italy right now, it will be a huge fixture for him. But it's so tough to call. We can talk about the ramifications back and forth. How do you see it?
I think Lukaku is a great person to bring up, because I think when I look at Belgium without those two players, and I know I keep going on about it, but I think it's the midfield two of Witsel, who also has just come back from injury, and Tielemans. They have got a huge game to play, both of them, to deal with that Italian threat of the runners that they have. And then it is Lukaku. He needs to, if he scores, they've got a real chance. If he's isolated and isn't able to get involved or get chances, other than obviously create chances for him, then, I don't see Belgium going through. I'm with you on this one. I think this one goes right, possibly to the end, possibly to penalties. And I think, actually, if you asked Belgian players, honestly, I think they take that right this second. But I think Italy might wear them down in extra time. I think it might be 1-1 full time, and then it could be Chiesa again, or it could be absolutely anyone with the amount of Italian goal scorers we've had in this competition. But I do think Italy will get through, and I do expect Italy to go all the way to the final, because they have really been that good in this competition so far.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.